Thank you.
Got it.
And what is it? Where is this camera? Shoot, it's a Ron Stein camera.
Yeah, see, special.
That's great. Keep it on Ron.
So Gary, I'm surprised you're not up in Show Low in that area.
Well, I was. I just got back last night.
Oh. How's it
And
been up
going
there
back
with the
again
rain?
next week.
How's it been up there with the rain and storms?
A lot of rain, some good storms. Downtown Sholo last week actually had some flooding.
Oh.
But it's nice to see the rain regardless.
Okay, welcome everyone to August 16th, Multimedia Civic. 5 in-person attendance and 1, 2, 3, 4 remote. We have fine-tuned the setup a little bit more and discovered that the camera that we were using last week on a stand in the corner over there, it now is up on top of the television because it opens up and it will fit up there. So that gets it as far back as it's going to get. Works pretty well. We also moved the wedge, little room mic. It's on a stand directly underneath the television. So it's picking up the room. And I guess it's getting us sitting here at the table sufficiently.
You have to ask them.
How does it sound to our remote participants?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I think we got final answer here. I got emails from Phil Rock telling what we want. Give him a Amazon description and he'll have it ordered and delivered. So I'm not sure that we need much more than what we've got right now.
Yeah, but it's your equipment.
Yes, it's our equipment. And we're going to replace it with a setup for the camera club, which will be available for whomever. And with that, leftover business from last week, Todd Taylor had a question about usage data on clips and photos in a DaVinci Resolve media bin, because you could do that in Premiere. And I hadn't run across the capability to do it with me screwing around in Resolve, so I didn't have an answer. Gary did something that when I wrote it back, I said, well, now I feel dumb because usually when people ask questions like this, I tell them, well, why don't you Google it? I didn't Google it, Gary did. So there is a way to do it. And I'll include the link on how to do that in the notes for this meeting. Who's got video? Crickets?
I don't have a video, but
I shot mine last week. I mean,
I have an announcement.
Okay.
For those of you who have maybe seen this, there's really good news for photographers and the national parks. A district court judge in DC, the DC district, has ruled that what the Park Service has been doing, which is charging you to do any commercial photography in a national park, regardless of whether you were disruptive or whatever, is illegal.
Saw that. That went to court a couple of months ago. I didn't know there was a decision.
There's a decision, and this female judge said that that's a violation of the First Amendment of the Constitution. You cannot do that. You can't charge people either commercially or people are doing things for private purposes just to shoot pictures in a national park. And also issued a restraining order against the Park Service from collecting any monies for that until they revise the rules. So now the Park Service is going back and revising the rules. And this attorney who's on the internet who does media law said that may be good news for flying drones in national parks. So I thought that was a significant decision.
So basically anybody can shoot anything and cannot be charged for doing so.
just for merely photographing. And that's what they've been doing. I've been charged twice on projects for clients, which we objected to, but it hadn't been taken. But the NPPA, which is the Press Photographers Association, backed this. What this guy did was he went to Yorktown, which is a national park, Yorktown Battlefield, and he shot a commercial film, was a theatrical, but he didn't disrupt anybody. Nobody even knew it, that he had been there, and they shot the footage. Well, the Park Service saw the film in the theater, on the internet, someplace, and said, by the way, you owe us X number of thousands of dollars because you didn't get a permit. So the NPPA backed him up, went to, and ended up in the federal district court for the District of Columbia, and the judge said, and then issued a restraining order, said you can't charge people for exercising their First Amendment rights in a national park if you're disrupting. In other words, you need security or you're going to block roads. That might be a different case. So I thought that was a pretty significant decision for photographers.
Yeah.
I was wondering, how would they tell? I mean, I know that, when you go to some sites, there is posted, if you're going to take any tripod or whatever.
We're
Right.
losing something here.
That's all.
Holly, yeah, you need to turn the sound off on one of them, maybe. So anyway, how they would know.
How would they know if you were shooting commercially?
Yeah.
They wouldn't. But I know, worked on a couple of independent films that were shot in National Park Service land, and we had to get permits, and they had to have a park ranger there watching you all the time and that kind of stuff. Court said, can't do that. It doesn't make any difference if you're a private person or a commercial. That's still First Amendment. Sorry, can't do it. So I thought that was a pretty neat decision.
But that doesn't affect the fact that people go into some national parks, they have to pay for admittance to get in.
No, it doesn't. It's
that.
nothing to do with that. That's just that's just a statute that was actually passed by the Congress about 5-6 years ago, in which the revenue prior to the congressional action, the revenue collected by the parks was not used by the parks. It went into the general fund of the United States. The parks didn't get the money. Well, the Congress changed that. Now the parks get 70% of the gate.
Good.
And I think it's a good thing. What is it? I was just up in the Grand Canyon. The fees there are, I don't know what it's like $35 or something a day. Well, you get a 5-day pass. It's a lot. It's a fair amount of money to go into those places.
Have they changed the senior pass
Nope,
business?
it's still
It's the
free.
same.
You just show them the pass.
So these rule changes at this point are not for drones.
Not for drones. No, drones are, I tried to shoot in a national park. Well, one of their properties, I guess it's not a national park, but and applied for a permit, and the guy literally laughed at me. So,
Yeah.
what can I say?
Yeah, I would love to be able to shoot drone footage in some of these parks, but I'm of two minds about doing away with that.
I am too.
Because the minute they say it's okay,
Oh,
there's going to be 45 drones hovering in the air in front of, whatever. And yeah.
well, I mean, I think they ought to, maybe a free permit would be in order
At the minimum.
to try to control it up to a degree, because you can see, 100 drones flying over the Grand Canyon at one time.
Go back to the old helicopter days in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Or maybe they could say only this day in a week during certain hours.
That would be worse.
I think it would just be a zoo.
Yeah, it would.
So I have mixed feelings too. But I think the restrictions on flying drones in national parks is probably somebody's going to go to the courts with it.
Yeah. The only way we could get away with it in Vermilion Cliffs National Monument is that that monument is administered by the BLM.
This judgment covered not just the national parks, but the BLM, the Forest Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, blanket.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I never thought, I've shot up there before. That's interesting. I never even thought about that.
Isn't there something where you can be offside and fly through the barrier or the boundary?
Yeah, but where we were shooting was,
No, I've been on other places.
no,
Because I've shot I've run a drone at Vermilion Cliffs and I didn't even.
but it's okay. It's legal because it's administered by the BLM, not the National Park Service.
Yeah, I don't know what their rules are.
I
The
checked extensively.
rules now are, you can't do anything about it, so I don't know.
Yeah. No, we were perfectly legal.
Okay,
Where we shot.
that's good to know.
Of course, we did get hit up on a tourist. He had a permit for that. And
On a what?
one of the tourists going through with a guide,
Yeah, we were
really
setting
smart,
to-
you got a
to-
permit to fly that drone, and his
the
guide
tour guide.
shot right back and defended us.
Really?
Yeah, it was great. They don't need a permit. Do your research. And it was like, you have a feeling this guy drove me nuts the whole drive in.
Yeah,
Oh,
he said they had just gotten there and it sounded like he was fed up already.
Huh.
Okay, well, speaking of drones,
Feels bad for drone stories.
yeah, I'll show you all something while we're here.
Ah.
I don't have a drone. I missed the drone shot of the century, so what can I say?
Now, some of us,
What did I do?
they'll never get their drone shot of the century to this.
Going to share the screen and bring you all up to date on something. Oops. There we go. Share. Okay. Okay, here we are back at, hey, the Camera Club website. Under SIGs, multimedia, we have updated a couple of these things, but we have started a new tab. And we don't have much in here yet, but if you're interested in starting to do drone stuff, this is for all the people that may be thinking about it. Here are some things that you have to know to get started. They're basically rules. And we will add more stuff below this, links, education, training, suggestions, whatnot. This was shot about 300 feet in the air. That's Chino Canyon. And there's the truck right there. So, have a look at this, tell me what you think, and whatever.
So you wrote this up then, it's on the website.
This is live on the website right now.
Put it on there yesterday. No.
Yeah.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Good of you to do. Post
Yeah.
it. Thanks.
Those other screens. The other screens we worked on. Not public yet, though, are they?
Okay, Bill, you were saying something about drones before we actually started the meeting?
I was messing with a drone yesterday and I had the classic drone shot, the best drone shot potentially that I ever made. And that was a hawk coming right at the drone.
Oh.
I wasn't recording for a variety. So I saw it on the screen, but I missed it. I was messing with the new configuration of buttons and it wasn't in record. And the hawk came right up to the drone, looked at it and then flew on. It would have been a great shot, but I didn't capture it.
Maybe you'll get one again. Try it in the same neighborhood. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that.
Tie a mouse to the skids.
I don't know that I.
Oh, your drone will be gone then.
Yeah, but it was just, the hawk was very curious but didn't want to attack the drone or do anything, just kind of came up, looked at it and flew on by. Very close though, I mean,
Yeah.
right there.
Jeez.
That would have been good. Did I hear you say that you had an encounter with your propellers?
Yeah, I have a hole in my thumb.
Yeah,
You put guards on it.
yeah, we've got the guards.
Yeah, I've never used those. That's for sissies.
No, Brian did it because I had depth perception issues and I would think I was missing the.
You'd rather have a hole in it smell.
I know, it's tough
Yeah,
being a guy.
yeah, you got a water wound.
You know, I've flown them for years, big ones, little ones, and I've never had that. And this was where the battery door flew open and I was trying to catch it. And if you've ever tried to catch a small drone, when you put your hand up underneath it, it takes off.
Yeah, the sensors.
Well, no, what it's doing is actually, it's seeing a cushion of air and lifting up on that cushion. And so if you forget the sensors, you can turn them off and it still will do it. But it took off and I thought, well, I'll get that. And I went right into the plate. So it wasn't very smart.
Now we've used the skid then to grab it, haven't we?
Yeah.
The skid will let you stay far enough away, you can just hook it.
Well, on the bigger drones, and Kevin knows about the 3 and the 4 with the big skids, you can grab those real easily, very safely.
Yeah.
But on the little drones,
yeah,
a little different.
You've done the cars, haven't you?
Kevin, you've done in-air catches on your drone, right? No,
he's frozen.
he's frozen.
Yeah, I do it all. Uh-oh.
Say again, Kevin.
Yes, Phil.
Well, I was just saying, you've done in-air catches on your drone, right? We'll try it next week.
Yes, sir. I have.
Okay. Yeah, you're coming in and out, so.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Holly,
Yes.
refresh.
Yeah.
Refresh our memory and or go into a little more detail about setting up a hybrid meeting for who and when for the camera club.
Oh, I'd like one for the 3rd Thursday in October at 1:30. It would be for speaker series. Speaker series is also member meeting. GVR requires us to have a number of meetings every year. And as long as I've been in the club, which is ancient, 17 years or so, the speaker series are the member meetings because all the members are invited and they're notified of them. So, and it's also the April one is where voting takes place for the board. But the October one is going to be you and Susan and Grace talking about the Zoom hybrid meetings where you focus on the in-person room part. If you're still willing, anyway, this is what we had talked about. And Grace focuses on the remote Zoom part. Helping people understand how that's done, why it's done, how to be part of it.
Okay.
And it's scheduled for the Anza Room.
Okay.
Grace, you're going to be doing it via Zoom?
Well, yeah, I have to because I'm here in Portland.
Oh, and also the president should be there. It's weird. Normally we do announcements as well, preceding the meeting. And if I'm there, I'll be there to do the announcements. I can do them by Zoom if I'm not. We'll check and see who else is there. It'd be nice if there were some people there, club officers, to do announcements.
Okay. Well, we can.
I'll round them up.
We can use our third camera to facilitate that, I guess, so they don't have to come up and talk. I don't know. Grace, we'll work it out.
Okay, yeah, I would expect that, okay, so people who are live might need to know about Zoom. People who are Zooming in probably already know about it, but there may be some features they don't. So we'll talk about.
Yeah, Grace, I would guess there will be quite a few people who who are going to try Zoom for maybe the first time.
Okay, so we can just
And
go on.
certainly won't know how to share if they have something.
Okay. So
By then we'll be able to walk them through the setup that we've put together for the camera club. What's in the
Yeah,
box.
that'd be great.
Yeah, Holly, you were a little late coming in. We've been in contact with Phil Rock and basically, how much money can we spend?
Yeah, I saw the email. You copied me in on that, so that's good. The last I heard, he probably will not be there in October, but he might.
Okay, well, we'll have all the new equipment long before then.
Yeah, good, great. Kevin, then you're on for November, I believe. You were going to present that one you did for us on Caterpillar. That's okay. We can talk later.
Okay,
I can, Holly.
I'll email him.
I should be able to. If you can.
Oh, good. Yay. Yep. Good.
I'm kind of thinking back over the past year or so as we've been doing Zoom, and there's been an awful lot of people coming in and coming out, and then you give instructions on how to do the shared thing and 10 other little instructions. And at one point, I think there was a little bit of a write-up on that. It would be neat if when you do this thing on that Thursday, that stuff be brought all together in one PDF that could be mailed out to the club members if they request it, so that after seeing it, they've got something that they can put in their hand and work with those instructions.
Hang on.
Or better yet, put on the website like Ryan just did that
Hang
for
on. Hold that thought. We've been busy this weekend. It was right there.
Yeah. Hang on, let me get back to this.
It's in progress. The pages are not public yet, but we have been writing it up.
In the
yay.
Educational resources, share screen instructions, Zoom features. Now, we've had this on the website for some time. So anyway, and we added our diagram for this setup.
Excellent.
I've got a book called Zoom for Dummies. I could give you the publication information on that. It might be worthwhile for people to know about.
At least the book, yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
What are you trying to do?
Trying to get rid of that.
We should probably, if it's good, Jim, would you recommend one of those for the club to buy and have in their library?
Yeah, I would. It's fairly detailed, though. It's not a real simple little condensed thing.
it probably covers a fair amount on how to host, because that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, it's everything.
Where is the meeting?
Do you have an ISBN?
You just lose this.
Did I?
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, but I don't have it with me.
There we go.
Oh, okay. Email me that, would you please?
Sure.
And I'll see if we can get a copy of that for the club.
Yeah, just check to make sure you've got the latest update version, because they keep making changes on it.
Sure.
And that's one of the things that we as the multimedia people should do that I didn't do this morning, was update my app.
For some reason, I was updating my operating system and I thought it would be done long before this meeting, but it wasn't. So it wouldn't let me in at first on the computer while the update was going on in the background. But then after I got on the phone, it did, which is why I was on both. So now I'm just on the computer. I don't get it.
Maybe it finished.
No, it said 4 or 5 hours left.
Oh, okay.
But it decided to let me do this as well. So that's good.
So Brian, I noticed the camera change for the room camera. Were you doing something remotely, or do you have two cameras, or can you zoom in with the camera you've got up on top of the TV?
The camera on top of the TV up there, and there is another camera here. that we can switch to and use to focus in on things.
Okay, yeah, I remember you had two cameras and you switched between them and I could see Phil on one and then you moved it over so I could see, yeah, right. And see the speaker, see the speaker.
Be careful with that thing, it's scary.
Yeah.
So,
I'm proud of you guys. This is really very cool. It was nice before when we were just Zooming, but this will be very nice, I think. It lets me be back at the club before I can be, so that's great.
Yeah, I like it too, yeah.
yeah, the setup is portable. This will translate very easily over into the Anza Room.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, will the distance between things make a big difference? I would think it would.
Well, yeah, maybe the budget goes up. No,
You have a big TV you can wheel in there, right?
yeah, we've got
Pull down
the
the
big
back of it.
TV over
Okay.
there in the corner, and
Yeah, that's true.
And we'll put the camera up on the roof on it, and we'll take this little table here to put the bench mic on. It all works the same. We just need to have a table to put our setup in front of us on.
So will it be using the mic that's part of the TV?
No, the mic is this thing right here.
The wedge, the
Yeah.
conference mic.
Can you, yeah,
What we're still working out is if the audience has questions, we'll probably have to bring them up to one location where we have a camera sit on that location and a mic.
That's good, yeah.
Trying to pass a mic up through the camera
Well,
or through the audience, depends on the size.
yeah, we can have something like our little this camera.
Sure, this one.
We can have, this little camera set up fairly well, centrally located 10 feet in front of the television, and the bench mic, the one on the table here, will pick them up quite easily.
Would there be a shotgun mic that's more directional?
No need. Absolutely no need for that. I mean, everybody out in TV land can hear you standing there or sitting there talking, right? So somebody that far away from it and with a camera on them using this mic, it's going to work.
But in a bigger auditorium area, much further back.
They walk up to the camera and within range of the mic. They'll have to get up and walk. Too bad.
put an X on the floor where their spot is.
Yeah, yeah.
We thought about passing the mic down, but that just is a mess. If somebody leaves it on in here,
Yeah.
Right. So Brian, can you tell me again what exactly that omnidirectional mic is that you've got sitting there in case I would like to buy one for my personal use?
Grace, I'll send it to you.
Okay, that's good. And under what conditions do you need extension cords? I mean, you need a long cord to come from the camera that's on top of the
It depends
TV.
on how long your existing cords are. When would you need an extension cord for, I don't know, a drill, that kind of a concept?
Yeah, this one coming down from the thing, I don't know if you can see it. There's an extension cord here. These are 6-foot USB extension cords to get the one on top of the TV and to get the mic over to the USB hub where they're plugged into the computer.
6 foot, that's all you need is from the camera down to your computer is 6 foot?
For this particular setup, yes. When we get the camera clubs set up, we're going to get 10-foot extensions. But this is what we had on our shelf in our closet.
So the extension is from the one that you have that goes to the camera, and it's an extension onto that, in other words.
Yes.
Okay. And from that camera and from the microphone are the two places where you need extension cords, USB.
Let me switch the view. Okay. There's the, what was Gene's definition of multimedia? It means mini cables. Okay, there's a little about 18-inch extension cord to get the USB hub away from the laptop. Back up a little bit. So extension cord to USB hub. And the USB hub, both of these and this are extension cords that go to the microphone and the camera, respectively. This one is the one to the camera here that I'm using.
Okay.
It's not as simple as you can get. If you don't need a second camera, well, you eliminate some cables.
When we get the write-up finalized, it'll be out on the website and we'll also send you one.
Yeah.
If you need it sooner than that, we can always send you a rough draft.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know if I'm going to need to run hybrids, but there might be a good chance. So just want to think ahead.
Does anybody have any remarks on the quality of the room view camera? Because I think it looks pretty good.
We're talking about the web camera.
Yeah, it's a webcam. This is the one that we recommend at the club here. They're low cost. They're well under $100 now.
They're 60 on sale.
Yeah, 60.
It does the job as far as I can see. I mean, you're not looking at fine resolution, but you don't need it.
Yeah, I don't find a way to make the room camera full screen. Like I could do speaker view if somebody's talking. Oh, gee. Okay, I'm going to be off there for a minute.
Like that?
She says she's gonna be off the air for a minute.
Oh yeah, that makes it full screen. That makes it full screen. And it's fuzzy, but I can't tell if it's because of my Zoom connection really or the camera. Or you guys are just a little fuzzy this morning.
Are we on the computer club or the regular one?
Computer club. I'm sorry, well, the camel club.
And that'll work properly in the other room at that time, we hope.
Yeah.
It should.
Where was it? Oh, here it is. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll put it for this camera. It'd be nice to take this walk over to the Anza room and hold it up with the laptop and make sure how far back it sees. It should see all the way through.
See all the way there. I mean, we can
Yeah.
see the stuff on the wall back there. And this is plenty big enough. I mean,
It's a Logitech. Yeah, it's a good branding.
Well, the people in the back will only be that high.
well, if they're real shy, they can sit back there, and if they got something to say, they can walk up to the mic.
And then also only be that wide.
Excuse me.
Other than that, we're gonna set up with a recommendation for cables will be primarily for this setup in a small room this size. What we would need out in Anza, we are not sure yet.
I don't think it's gonna be much.
Yeah, we can control it. Okay.
Okay, any other questions, suggestions?
Comments?
I have a question about something else. If I want to make a movie for a family that has a camp up here, and I'd like to show it to the group, but I don't want it on YouTube.
We just
Is that a problem?
We just turn the recording off for the duration of your film.
Good. Okay.
Well,
Great.
that doesn't mean that it won't be on YouTube. It just means that it won't be on the playback. But anytime you've got anything streaming out there, hackers can get into it. So just so it isn't totally private unless it's encrypted, and we're not encrypting. So just so we're clear on that.
Okay.
If it's on this system, it's not necessarily in the clear, but people could see it.
Why don't you have her start her movie before we do the recording, and then when get done with her recording, start the meeting and record it.
But Phil is correct.
Would that work, Phil?
Anytime you transmit anything over an internet connection, you could never consider it to be private, especially from the government. But this, to me, would not be very sensitive. So who would care?
Yeah. Are you done about showing something today?
No, next week.
Okay, then we'll do a two-start.
Okay. Yeah, or we could do it at the end too. I get, after when you stop recording.
Yeah, at the end would be easiest, yes.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
What's that smile for, Ron?
Well, we're wondering about the content of this camp. I mean, is this a nudist camp? You're taking too long to answer.
We're awfully
No.
glad.
No, it's not. Sorry to disappoint you, but it's not a nudist camp.
Oh, darn.
Okay.
We accidentally once drove into a nudist fun run. It's like, holy cow, we were around.
Which wasn't, by the way, probably a fun run.
Oh,
They do it every year. So
I mean, it wasn't that much fun.
You wouldn't think it would be.
it's in the woods, way north of Spokane.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like people would have been very supported.
Oh.
Ba-bum-bum.
Yeah, what else do we have?
Okay, yeah, on that note, do we have anything else from anybody before we go non-PG here? That's it, short meeting.
That's it.
We're gonna stop the recording at this point. And anybody wants to,
Oh, the meteor showers are going on.